Everybody, and welcome back to the final segment of today's GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast, and it should be a very exciting one. Guys, we are going to talk about, for the first time ever in the history of this show, fantasy baseball. We are approaching the midway point of the season, so I just wanted to look into a midseason roundup. Obviously, I could have talked about the Wolves-Mavs tonight, but I didn't expect there to be a Game 5, so this is kind of a panic segment, but not really, because I'm really excited to talk about baseball for you guys. But let's just get right into it. It should be a very exciting segment for me. Obviously, if you are looking at hitters, it's still Shohei Ohtani. I mean, what can I say about this guy? You can go to bed for the next 10 years and Shohei Ohtani will always be the best player in baseball when you wake up. He's just such a fantastic player. Well, with the controversy surrounding him, yes, with the whole interpreter thing, you can say that, yeah, he's not as high profile as he used to be, but he's still one of the best players in the league. Whether or not he pitches as well, obviously he's not pitching this year, but he's still hitting .336 average, 13 home runs, 7th in the league, 35 RBIs, and an OPS of 1024. I mean, what else can we say about this guy? He can move to any team in sports, be the most high-profile player there, obviously on a Dodgers team that has so many good players. Shohei Ohtani just be added to that team makes them even more potent, and controversy or not, Shohei Ohtani is shining through as baseball's figurehead right now, and it's just a pleasure to watch. However, if you're looking for a more lower profile yet still big name player for your fantasy baseball squad moving into the midway point of the season, how about Bobby Witt Jr., the young shortstop from a Kansas City Royals team who many expected to surprise this season, but not as surprising as being second place in the AL Central. Sorry about that. AL Central, behind another surprise team in the Cleveland Guardians. They're right now 34-22. The Royals are one of those teams where you don't expect a huge fantasy player to break out, but Bobby Witt Jr. has been just that, with .309 average, 9 home runs, 36 RBIs, 924 OPS. I think that Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be the face of the Royals franchise for the next decade and a half. I really like him as a young shortstop. It's promising. And as a player in terms of fantasy, I think that a lot of people kind of took him on blind faith because they saw how he could progress with the Royals, but I don't think many people expected his breakout season to be as big as it has been. Another guy who I really like on kind of a team that's not going to compete in the latter half of the season, so if you want a kind of guy to pick up midway through your season who is going to perform for a team that's not going to perform, Jazz Chisholm, a 285 batting average, 8 home runs, 27 RBI, 792. He's sitting right around that outfielder 12 position in terms of fantasy baseball, but an exciting young player as well for a Marlins team that's not competing right now. So expect him to produce in a team that's not producing, if you know what I mean. Moving on to the pitchers. Obviously, we can talk about a lot of pitchers, but I just want to talk about a huge feel-good story that was highly unprecedented in the history of baseball right now. Obviously, it was kind of tarnished last night, but I still want to present it to you guys because it's just incredible what this guy has done coming in from Japan. I'm talking about Shota Imanaga. Now, in the history of baseball, only 37 pitchers in the history of the MLB have ever had as good a start as this guy ever. You have to go back to 1945 to even find a guy who did this. Shota Imanaga's first 5 games, 5-0, .84 ERA in his first 5 games in the league. 58 Ks, obviously, for a middling Cubs team. But when you think about it, yes, this is a new era where guys are not pitching further into games, but Shota Imanaga has just been an absolute revelation. Obviously, he got shelled last night by the Milwaukee Brewers. This run could not continue forever, but just goes to show that a lower profile guy coming in from Japan, known as the throwing philosopher, teaching a thing or two to the league. He's not like the prettiest guy in baseball terms. He's not the fastest pitcher, but he's known for his command and his curveball, and it has been confounding the MLB ever since he arrived this season. So Shota Imanaga, a feel-good fantasy player. A lot of people may have lucked out on him trying to find a pitcher who could break out and have a nice season. So congratulations to you. But to those who may not have been attuned to him or his game, do look to pick him up midway through the season if he's still out there. But coming into the season as well, Mets fans might want to cover their ears for this part of the show. Zach Wheeler, he has been one of the highest profile pitchers on a team that has been one of the best in baseball in the Phillies. 6-3 record, 2.53 ERA, 76 Ks. So this guy has been no surprise. He probably has been on your fantasy squad, but if he isn't, look for him to be picked up off waivers if you're lucky enough, because he should be rostered by a huge amount of people. Now, looking at a team and some players that have been injured, you might want to look in the latter half of the season, should they come back. Let's talk about the Texas Rangers, defending World Series champions, right now in a bit of a slump, although Corey Seager isn't. Look for him if you're in like a daily fantasy baseball league. 8 homers in 8 games, just an incredible, outstanding player. Hopefully he can continue to push the Rangers back to relevancy, back into first place in an AL West that has not been that good this year. But I want to talk about the pitchers that the Rangers have on the injured list that could come back and really help your fantasy baseball team. Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom. Right now, both of them are on the IL. They might have been expected to have come back already, but on the IL, they still sit. Max Scherzer, obviously an experienced pitcher. Last time he pitched a full season was 2022, and that season, 13-6, 3.77 ERA, 174 K. Still doing it in what is his 15th season in the league. I expect him to come back, immediately make a huge impact for a Texas Rangers squad that is looking to make a late season push. Right now they are not producing, and he could really help them. And another guy in Jacob deGrom, who, when fully healthy, he's perhaps the best pitcher in all of baseball. So once he's healthy, look for him to go swiftly off of waivers. But I just want to talk to you guys about Jacob deGrom and how long it has been since he has pitched a game, and how long it has been since we have seen the brilliance he brings to the game of baseball. If you want to go back to the last time he pitched a game and his team won, that was April 28th, 2023 against the New York Yankees. And if you want to go to his last quality start, where he pitched deep into a game and won a game without a no decision, you have to go back about a week later than that, in April 23rd, 2023 against the A's, when he pitched 6 innings and had 11 Ks. So you can see that Jacob deGrom is probably perhaps the best pitcher in baseball when healthy. So in the latter half of the season, look out for those two guys on the Texas Rangers team that wants to compete to come back. But that's just about do it. I enjoyed this segment so much. Not a lot of fantasy baseball talk on this show, so I'm really glad that I could get at least one segment for you guys. But that should just about do it for it. As always, I do ask that you like and follow and subscribe to the show. Leave a tip and donation at the link gsmc.cloud. This has been this edition of GSMC's Fantasy Sports Podcast. My name is Chris Shepard. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow for another exciting edition of the GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast.